day, good day, good day. Welcome back to class. In this lesson, we are going to learn the basics of Kotlin, the basics of the Kotlin programming language. The Kotlin programming language is a language you will be using to develop the app that you have wished and wanted to develop in the past years and the past days. First of all, we will need to be very sure that we have everything that is necessary in order to install the necessary apps that we're using. By now, you should have your Android Studio successfully installed without any problems. You should have intelliJ IDEA also successfully installed without any problems. Now we are inside of our intelliJ IDEA. By intelliJ IDEA. You see, the font size is very, very small. I taught you how to enlarge the font size or increase it in our previous video. But in case you didn't get it, I'll go through the process a bit more slowly this time for you to get it and do the right thing. At least you are able to increase the font size a bit and you get a better view and everything becomes easily visible. That one being said, just move your mouse to File. File. Then you come to Settings. You can access this with Control plus S, a Control plus F plus Control plus Alt plus X. Okay, you can access this with a Control plus Alt plus X. Okay, so just click on that. Click on that and you select font and you have size over here. We'll change it to something that is a bit readable. For me, I'm changing mine to 30 so that you will see and see it well. After that, just click and you should get something bigger. By now, you should have a train like this, and if maybe something like this is possible. Okay, so something like this is highly possible. So you should be getting something like this. That's really great. Now, if you are not having this, then this is the process you are supposed to go through. Okay, so you open your project. Mine is Rose Consult. So double click open. Then you will go to SRC. Open that. Go to main. Open that. Go to Kotlin. Open that, and you should get main.kt. Clicking on that, double clicking on that to give you this outcome, this output. Okay, that's really great. That's really great. I want us to take some bit of info over here. If you are having problems with your Android Studio, then it might be that your system does not support Android Studio. Okay, so we'll take some bit of features over here and learn about Android Studio now. Then we'll continue with the lesson for today. If you're on Windows, then this is the system requirement for Windows. Your Windows should be 64-bit operating system or 64-bit system type. And it should be on Windows 8 or Windows 10 or the latest, okay? So if you're on 32-bit and Windows 7, then this is not for you. This is not for you. So that one, it means you are going to have problems with the installation of the Android Studio, Then you should be on 8664 CPU architecture. It should be at least a second generation Intel core or newer, or AMD CPU with support for a Windows hypervisor. Then a minimum of 8 gig RAM, okay, a minimum of 8 gig RAM or more. If you don't have 8 gig RAM, you are going to have problems and challenges loading your emulator. And you should also be on 8 gig space of available space on your disk, okay? Available space on your disk, because you'll be loading IDE, you'll be loading Android SDK, and you'll be loading Android emulator at the same time. And therefore, you're gonna need a very lot of space, okay? Much lot of space in order to make it a success. Then you should be on a 1280 by 800 minimum screen resolution. Minimum screen resolution. If you're on Mac or Apple, Mac OS, you should get Mac OS at least 10.14, which is the J or higher. You should be on ARM based chips or second generation Intel Core or newer with support for hypervisor framework. You should have a minimum of 8 gig RAM or more, and you should also have 8 gig available disk space, which will load your IDE, your Android SDK, and the Android emulator. You should have a 1280 by 800 minimum screen resolution and even more. If you're on Linux, then any 64-bit Linux distribution that supports GNOME, KDE, or Unity DE, UC library, and the lot 2.31 or later. You should also be on 64, 86, 64 CPU architecture, second generation Intel Core or newer, or AMD processor with support for AMD virtualization, and so on and so forth. You should be on 8 gig RAM or more, and 8 gig RAM, 8 gig disk space for this to work. Then you should also need a minimum of 1280 by 800 minimum screen resolution. So if you meet this requirement, I say bravo. It means you are on a system that can develop an app. You are on a system that can develop an app. And that's really, really great. Okay, that one being said, we'll explore this guy. That's the intelliJ IDE for a while. Then we'll know what stuff are used for. Know what these stuffs are used for. Okay. Now, if you come here, put it on it, you see this button. This is called a run button. In other languages, we call it the play button. It is located here and also this side. Okay. It is located here and also this side. So we have it also here. Okay, so if you bring it here, you see run main.kt. Sometimes you might be having problem with this main.kt, something of that sort. If you go through the process, that add configuration should disappear. The process of opening the main.kt file that we have opened now. Okay, now we have this, we call it the debug main.kt. We'll tackle that one later on. For now, just stick with this, okay? Then we have the run made with what? Coverage. This for searching any other item. This is IDE and project settings if you want to make any settings. And this is space the integrated team environment, okay? So these are that. And these are just ways for us to access certain stuff inside of our IDE, okay? IDE, that's really good. Inside of our IDE. Okay, so now you are good. Let's know what these stuff we are seeing here are for and what is their uses. See the fun keyword over here. Here we call it a keyword, and it stands or it represents a function. Okay, So the short form of a function is used here. Okay, the short form of a function is used here. Okay. If in case you have problems installing this, then I will leave a link. I will leave a link. I will leave a link inside of the description where you will be able to access this platform online, and you will be able to follow lessons that we will be doing in this video. Okay. Okay. If you are having a screen that's white and you think you are at the wrong place, I'm telling you, you are not at the wrong place. The thing is, I chose this dark skin for my own. So if you are having the white skin, it is perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine. Take that. Okay, let us continue. So just after the fun, we have another word here. We call it the main. This is the name of the function. So if I ask you what is the name of the first function you meet in Cortex or the intelliJ IDE, then you are to tell me it is the main what? Function. The main function. Okay, the main function. Okay, maybe by the time you come here, you should have print line. Then, okay, what is inside just after the name of the function, main function, we have bracket, okay, bracket. And inside of the bracket, you will see we have args. That stands for argument. Anything that we pass to our function, for our function to use, we call it argument. We call it argument, and it is very important, So that's the short form. And in this case, we are passing an argument which should be in the form of array. So six array, the argument should be in the form of array, and it should take a value of range. Just after the closing bracket, you should have an opening curly braces. Opening curly braces. Okay. By now, you should be having print line, print line, print line, then hello, hello world, right inside of your code. Okay, right inside of your code. So you should be having something like this. If you are having it, good. If you are not, you can write it and test if everything is working perfectly for your program. Okay, so go to the over here and you click on that, or you can go here and click on that. You can also access this with Shift plus F10, whichever way you are going to. So I'll just come here, click on Run. I'll click on Run and choose the first option, Run main.kt, okay, or main.kt. That one is also accessible with Control plus Shift plus what? F10. So just run. You should see some over here. So if you are seeing here, it means everything is you wait for output that can be then we do our test edit. Now, and then we are good to go. It is building. The first time building, it's going to take some time and some space. So wait for it to finish the good work it has started. Okay, the good work it has started, and then you're going to move to. It is building still. Let us wait for it. Let us wait for it. It's now compiling, so you wait. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you can see hello world displayed, world displayed here. If you are seeing this, I say bravo, congratulations. You are operating your first code. You are operating your first code, right? Now you can come here and using shift plus escape, you can close this page. But for now, I wouldn't close it. I would just want to make changes to the world. I'll say hello row and see the output. Okay, so now it is control plus shift plus what F10, and it should start building. Okay, as you can see building, or wait for that. Wait for that. So there are certain things that we need to cover here and understand better. And understand better. Okay, understand better. Okay, so we should be saying hello row. So if I have hello row here, everything is working. Everything is working. My editor is functioning. My editor is functioning, and therefore I am good to go. That's right. So with shift plus escape, I should be able to close this. Okay. Now come here, go down. I want us to take a very interesting failure. Run a program that you created is not much different than running a program such as a word processor on your computer. The difference is that when you run a program to accomplish a task or you play a game, you primarily care about what the program can do for you, and you don't concern yourself with the code that makes it work. When you are programming, you get to see and work with the actual code that makes the magic happen. Okay, so whenever you are playing a game and you click on certain stuff, I know the game that you like best, but you click on certain things and you see some actions, you don't care about however these things came about. All that concerns you is that you are enjoying. But when it comes to web development and designing, which we call programming, the programming aspect of this will help you see the real code, work hand in hand with the code, and then you will know how the magic happens with the games that you have been playing. With the game that you have been playing. Okay, I want us to take some quick look over here. Let's see. Now you see building over here. Just building, you should see compiling. Compiling. After it comes, I will tell you what this compiling means. What this compiling means. Okay. Hello, that's fine. So you saw the compiling, right? Okay, if you didn't, I'll run it again once more. Let's see. So we have built here. Be checking this side for me. Oh, okay, so let's game again. That's fine. So now, you know what this guy does? The print line. Mm-hmm. If you don't know anything, print, you know what print means. Print means to output something, right? To output something, that's right. Then this one, the LN, is used to represent line, okay? So print line will print just one line of a code for us, just one line of a code for us. So whenever you use the print line, you should know that whatever you are printing would automatically assume a new line and be on its own, and be on its own. Compilation is a process that translates the calling program code into a form that a system can run. Okay, so whenever we write this, the system does not understand this. I don't know if you did a bit of ICT in your high school or in your junior high school. You could get to know that the only language or the only language the computer understands is zeros and ones. So whenever I say I run my code that I have written, and that goes compilation, where the code I've written, which is visible and readable to me, is sent to the language that the computer understands, which is the zeros and the ones, and that's what we call compilation. Compilation. If a compilation process completes successfully, there are no errors in the program that will keep it from running. If there are problems, they will appear in pane at the button. At the button. Okay, so that's fine. That's one being said. Let us continue. So now we change this to some birthday. Happy, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. So plus shift plus FM should start building my code for me. Okay, so now we have it. Let's see if everything goes through successfully. Everything goes through successfully. It is building. Okay, so it's compiling, compiling those files. So let's wait for it to load and finish. Okay, finished, and I should get happy birthday. Okay, so that's that. So it means everything is successfully running. Okay, so how does this work? How is this done? This seems like a lot of code to just print some. Well, if you wanted a friend to write hello world on a piece of paper, there is a lot of implied information. If you just tell them write hello world on this piece of paper, they are going to make assumptions about the information you left out. For example, they are going to assume they need to use a pen, that also, and that you want them to write it using letters. The computer does not do this for you. No, it does not make these assumptions at all. So you have to give precise instructions that include every step. Just like the English language has a structure, so does a programming language. If you have ever learned another language, you know the challenge of learning the grammar, the spelling, perhaps a new alphabet of symbols, and the vocabulary. Learning to program has a similar challenge, but fortunately, it is less complex and a lot more logical than learning, for example, English, Arabic, Spanish, Chinese, and the list goes on. So, as I said, now you should know what the part of this stands for. So, the fun is a word and it means what? Function. Fun is a word in the Kotlin programming language. Fun stands for what? Function. A function is a section of a program that performs a specific task. For now, you have to keep it like this. It is a section of a program that performs a repetitive specific task for you. Okay. Kotlin has so many special words with very specific meanings. As you learn to program in the Kotlin language, you will learn these words. They are often keywords or reserved words. So an example of a keyword or a reserved word in Kotlin programming language is a fun keyword, okay? And it means function. Okay, so the main, as you can see here, this main guy is the name of the function, the name of the function. Functions have names, so they can be distinguished from each other. The function here is called main, and because it is the first or the main function, that is because it is the first or the main function that is called when you run the program. Every Kotlin program needs a function name main. Every Kotlin program that you write at all will need this function in order for it to run. Okay, then the function name is always followed by what? Uh, bracket. The function name is always followed by bracket, okay? So you take period or parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, you can put information on a function to use. This input to the function is called argument. Short form is ARS, arguments, okay? And you will learn arguments later on when we start to write our own function. Notice that a pair of curly braces after the parenthesis is very, very important. Inside a function is a code that accomplishes a task, okay? Inside every function, there is a code that accomplishes a specific task. So in this case, inside of the function name, we have this code, and it is accomplishing the task of what? Printing out happy birthday to the console for us, okay? To the console for us, okay? So the code that accomplishes this task must be inside the curly braces, okay? Must be inside the curly braces. The line of code here is to print the what? The happy birthday. The happy birthday. The print line tells the system to print a line of what? Text. Inside the parentheses, you put the text to be printed. So inside of the parentheses, you see the text that I want to be printed out. But the text must always go inside what? Quote. I mean, double quote or single quote, but double quote is mostly used and recommended. Mostly used and recommended. Okay, so notice that the text to be printed is surrounded by quote. This tells the system that everything inside the quotation mark should be printed exactly as given. Okay, to actually print the text, this whole print line instruction has to be inside the main function. So there is the smallest calling program that you will ever have. I hope you are following and enjoying the lesson. Okay, now let's copy and paste a more extended version of our program. Okay, a more extended version of our program. Is it one more time? Say happy birthday, and this time around we want to call on a name. So maybe I'll call on Ro. I don't know your name, or better still, who is there? Okay, so Ro, I'll call on Ro. I wanted to call your name, but it seems I've forgotten your name. So let's say you are what? Ro, you are what? You, how old am I? Okay, 79. And 79 is a good age to celebrate. Is that also Control plus Shift plus F10 should build and run and code for me. If you see building, then that's what it is doing. So what do you expect this code to, bring out? 3 lines, right? That's happy birthday on one line, row on the next, then you are 79 on the third line. So I should be getting something like this. Okay, so you see this guy, I'll be able to move to and for that. Okay, so happy birthday, row, you are 79. Okay, you are 79. Dealing with errors. You want to know how to deal with errors. Errors are very common in programming. No matter the level of your experience as a programmer, or no matter the degree that you have as a programmer, code comes with errors, and you should know how to handle these errors straight away. Straight away. Making mistakes while programming is very normal, and most tools will give you feedback to help fix these mistakes amicably. Okay, so in this step, we want to make a very small mistake. Very small mistake. Let us just remove this quotes over here, and let's see if we will be able to run our code here. So now you could see the moment I remove the red, birthday in white, which is actually something unexpected. I'm expecting it in the color green, okay? And when you come here, you could see two errors, one warning. Oh yeah, yeah, this is actually uh, something. But let's try and run our code. Control plus Shift plus F10, and I'll be running my code. Let's see if it comes out successfully, okay? Okay, so we have two errors over here, and you can see, first of all, you have rows consult in red. You have the first error. It says setting what an element. That's it. Then you come here, you should see unresolved reference. Then happy. Okay, unresolved reference. What does this mean? What does this mean? It is telling you, at least, if not for anything at all, if not for anything at all, this message which says unresolved reference will tell you where the unresolved reference is. And you go here, you see that right after that we have happy, happy. So it means that there is something wrong with the statement that I have here. Okay, if we don't know anything at all, when we started, I told you that the print line should always have double quote around it. Okay, we should have double quote around it. Okay, so this message unresolved reference will come with the name of where the problem is coming from. It tells you what the system thinks is the error in the code. Even if you don't know what the error message means, you may be able to figure out what is wrong. In this case, you know that the print line function or the instruction print a text. It does that always. You learned earlier that the text has to be between quotes. If the text is not in quote, then that is what? An error. That's an error. So to fix an error, go back and put the quote over there. And what happens now? So I'm placing my quotes. Sorry. Now, let me get back to. Okay, so you should see now my warning is still there, but my error has vanished. Okay, so let's press on Control plus Shift plus F10 now that now and see if everything comes out successfully. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Okay, so now we can see happy birthday, Ro. You are 79. Congratulations if you've come to this step and you've gone that far. I say you have done the right thing. You have written your first program and you have checked for errors and resolved it amicably. You are becoming the programmer that you dreamt of, and it will happen live and colored. Live and colored. Okay, let us now move on to the next thing. To the next thing. Okay. So now, if you have gone this far, congratulations. Congratulations. You should be having something like this. You can play with this. You can choose to write anything at all. Do the work perfectly. So I can say welcome. You welcome. Welcome. Welcome new age. Welcome new age. Okay, so I'll now run it and then the output. So if you see the audience, that's what it's actually doing. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Welcome, new age row. You are 79. So what have we learned so far? We've learned that all calling programs need to have a main function. Okay. And we learned that we use the print line function to print a line of text. We place the text we want to print between double quote, for example, hello, okay, or row, and you have it over there. Then the repeat the print line instruction to print what multiple lines of text. Errors are marked in red in the program. There is an error message in the output pane to help you figure out where the error is and what might be causing it. Okay, so these are what we've learned so far in this lesson. You want to learn more? Okay. Now I will leave you to try this on your phone. Change the print line function or instruction to something like that. Okay. So I'll change it to print and see the outcome or the output. If you happen to have all your lines, okay, that's all your lines merge on the same line, then I say congratulations. Okay, control plus shift to run our code. We are looking for an output, please. Okay, so you can see, welcome here, row you are 79. So what does the print instruction or the print function does? It prints a line, no, it prints a text without breaking it onto new lines. Okay, the print instruction just print a text without adding a line break at the end of each string. Fix the text so that each part of the message is on its own line. How do you do that? You go here and write this guy, that guy, then something like this. Just after that, then uh, then we are good to go. We are good to go. And maybe this guy will also need one. Okay. So run it and you can see if the problem is solved. If the problem is solved. We don't want something like this anymore. We don't want something like this anymore. We want our prayers. Now, just loading. So let us wait. There we go. So now you can see, oh, I brought this guy here. Paste this. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. Let us print out again. Okay, so now we should have the normal thing that we used earlier. So welcome new age, row, you are 79. So the backward slash and n after it calls for a new line. It says let everything comes after what I have written inside my quote now go on the new line. So row tells this guy to tell any other thing that's you are 79 to go to a new line. You can't print an empty line by supplying no text to the empty line. So let's see something. If I want an empty line, I just call on empty line. As you type, it should be getting option. I get it double quotes, right? Okay, so that's fine. Let's see if I will get a new line. I'm running my code and checking to see if everything works perfectly well. Okay. So you print a new line without supplying any text to the print line function. Okay, the print line function. Print line function. Okay, so let's go to our page and see if we have a new line. So you can see where the print line is, and we supplied no text to the print line function. We are having an empty space over there. That's really fine. I can still remove the double quote I should be getting the same output again. The same output as a new line or an empty line with nothing on it. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so there we go. Let's view it and see whether we've gotten it right and everything is working. So you can see where can you a empty line and then row. Okay, then row. So that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Let's tackle our next. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to create a birthday message in column. Okay, a birthday message in column. Okay. Now, we had earlier on written happy birthday row, happy birthday. So let me go back and go. Okay, so first of all, let's follow Control plus A to select everything. Then we start by fan, and we should be getting something. No, let's commit and get it. So you see this time around, I don't have the arguments and other stuff over here, which is perfectly okay. All I need is my main, and I wouldn't be using the argument for anything at all. Okay, so I'll just follow print line. That all right? Print line. They should be just as you can. This, then happy birthday, right? Happy birthday. Something that I should be getting. Okay, then I would say print line again. Hmm? Print line, column this, column that. Then I'll just mention my name. Then the next thing is you are okay, print line. Print line. This line, that's I will say you are you are 17, and I forgot. Though everything will run perfectly without that. Okay, so now you can see I have no warning, everything is okay. It says no problems found, everything is perfectly working. I can now run my code to see if everything does work. Everything does work again, then we can continue. So there we go. Happy birthday, Rob. You are 79. Hey, did I write Ra? Ra? You are 79. So these are some of the mistakes possible, okay? Typing error. Typing error. We call it the typo. If you make a mistake with the typing, we call it a typo error. So if you are lucky to see a typo error, then you should know what it means. You should know what it is. Say, okay, so that's fine. Now we'll learn how to create a birthday cake for Prof. Ro. We'll learn how to create a birthday cake for Prof. Ro. Okay, learn how to create a birthday cake for Prof. Ro. For Prof. Ro. Okay, so how is this going to be done? We don't have baking machines and other stuff here. But still, we need to bake a very, very nice cake for 12 row because it is once a year for a birthday, okay? It is once a year for a birthday. For a birthday. So that's exactly what we are going to do. So by now you should be having something like this, right? Now let us try and create a very nice cake for Prof. Ro. Now, before we move on, I would like to make mention of something vital when it comes to programming. Call it a comment. Commenting is very, very important in programming. Helps you to explain the codes that you are writing. It helps you to explain the codes that you are writing. So that in the near future, 2 years, 2 months, 3 years, 3 years, 20 years later, if you come back to the code that you have written, you will understand the reason why certain things were written. Okay. And it is important here, very, very important here, for us to start with this practice early as possible so that we will become the best of developers possible. Okay. So first of all, as I said earlier, you will need a birthday cake and we'll have to create that. First of all, you should get a picture or the idea of how the cake should be. Okay. So we don't have baking machines and other stuff here, but we have our laptops, our PCs with us, and we'll be able to come out with something very tangible here. Okay. Now, commenting, use two / symbols for commenting. Two / symbols for commenting. Anything that comes after the two / symbols is noted or taken as comment, and commenting or comments wouldn't be part of the things that you see in your console pane when you run or build your program. Okay, so that's it. First of all, we just want to know how the picture of our cake is going to be. I'll give you a very nice description, if I could, of the cake that we want to build or want to bake for you. Okay, now the cake should contain some candles, and candles have two parts. Okay, it has a body and it has a flame. Okay, that's fine. Then afterwards, we should get the top of the cake. Is that fine? That's great. Then after the top of the cake, we should get the bottom of the cake. Okay, that's really great. So that's actually what we're going to do here. So first of all, our flame will represent it with some commas, however you want it to be. Okay, then when you move on here, you can give the body of the cake. Okay, so have this body as nicer as you could make it. Okay, that's fine. If you are wondering how to get this symbol just here, it is the symbol between the um, shift key and the letter Z. So the symbol right between the two is symbol I'm using here. Okay, it is just located above the Windows key and in between the shift and the letter Z. Okay, so now we move on. After getting the body of our cake, isn't it nice that we get the bottom? So the top layer of our cake, represent it with equal to signs, and we want it to be a bit wider than the width of the cake, so that the width of the candle, so that the candles wouldn't fall. It wouldn't fall off. Okay. Then we move on again. Then this time round, we will need the bottom or the body of the cake. Okay. The body of the cake, and we will need this time. I think we need this. I think I think 5 times we do. So I just copy it and I'm pasting again. Okay, so that's that. That's that. So in this case, these things that you are seeing here, let me give it a space. Okay, I could even say imaginary take of our cake. Okay, imaginary fake of our cake. That's fine. And then we can move on here. Let me give us some space for this guy. Okay, then let me close this. Okay, then I think we can move on. So this is how we want our cake to be. So now this is the bottom of the cake. This is the top part of the cake. This is the body of the candle, and this is the flame of the candle. Okay. So in no time you are going to learn how to do this with ease and with rose consors. So first of all, just press Control plus A, highlight everything, then call in your main function. You can choose the second one, which will give you the arguments. If you don't need this, you can get it. You can get rid of that. But I will just maintain that. First of all, you will create a variable called age. Okay, you create a variable called age. Okay, a variable called age. Then you assign it some age. In this case, I'm assigning it the age 24. Then we'll create another variable called layers to store the layers of our cake for us, okay, the number of layers of our cake, and I'll just make it 5 here. Then I'll call the function to do the magic for me. So I'll call on print cake tab, print cake tab, and I'll say yeah, print cake top, and I'll pass in the age variable to that. Why am I doing this? I want the top of the cake to be as wide as the edge, okay? As wide as the edge. Then I can say print cake candles, okay? We need the candles for the cake. The candles for the cake, okay? So that's fine. And that one too should be as wide as edge, okay? As wide as edge. Then we'll also need the layer of the cake, and we are going to call it print cake bottom, okay? Print cake bottom. I hope these things are now easier for you. Okay, bottom, okay, they are now easier for you. You ask yourself, why am I seeing these red things over here? It is an error, right? Okay, it is an error because you don't have any functions like the print cake tab, the print cake candles, and print cake button. So you have to comment it out, comment it out so that it wouldn't be seen again. You see that the moment I bring the comment simple over there, we don't see this. This guy, we are going to pass age as well as layers to that, okay? Because we need the layers to be as wide as the edge, and we will need it to also be a certain number of height, okay? A certain number of height. I hope you will find it very difficult this time round, but watch this video over and over and over again, you will understand them better. You will understand them better. That's really great. Now we can take it a bit further. Now it's time for us to create the functions that we have called. They are not in existence, so we get on our func keyword and call on print cake tab. Okay, print cake tab. Then we are going to assign it some value for this age, and I hope you know what the top of the cake will be. Okay, so just call on the repeat function to do the miracle for us. I will call it to print the cake or the top of the cake age plus what? Age plus 2. I want the top of the cake to be as wide as 2 times 2 plus 8. So in this case, it is going to give me how many layers or how many equal signs. This is going to give us 26 equal signs, and we'll call the print to do the to do the magic for us. To do the magic for us. So it's going to print the equal to sign for us. 8 times, 26 times in this case. After getting this, we'll need some space after the top of the layer is printed so that we can go on to the new line. So we call on print line, and we are good to go. Okay, print line, and we are good to go. So this is going to create what? A space for us, or an empty line for us. I hope you are getting it. Okay. Now that we are done, we need to go on and create the main function that we have called over there. So we just create this one, call it fun. Okay, then we say print cake, maybe candles. Okay, print cake candles. And you know the candles of the cake. Okay, so first of all, let's pass in. We should print the cake candles as long as the age. Okay, so that's fine. And we are to pass this. We are having this. I don't know if you have noticed this. Why are we having this? Okay. Why are we having this? Because we didn't specify the type of this sort of this. That's fine. We didn't specify the type of the a variable. In this case, it is what? An integer. Okay, it is an integer. So now your errors should disappear. Okay. Now, our column, as I was saying, the candles contain what? Both. It contains the flame and the body. So you need two repeat functions to do this miracle for you. Just follow repeat. Okay. Then we want it to do the work for us. We want it to do the work for us. Okay. We should print the candles 8 times for us. That also. 8 times for us. Okay. Now we are good to go. Then what is the first part of the candle? It is the flame. Okay. It is the flame. Okay. So we just follow the then we'll give it the flame. The flame is what? Comma. That's great. Comma. Comma. That's fine. Okay. Now that is done, we can go on and give it some spacing. Isn't that? So okay. So I just made mention of I just made mention of commenting, and I am not using it here. So we'll just comment our work. Let's say creating create create the print cake function. Okay, function. It is always a good thing to get an empty line. Empty line. Okay. Then this is what, remember, this is what the top of the cake, right? Top of cake. Okay, top of cake. So that's some commenting to explain our code. Okay. So here say what, create the print cake candles function. Okay. And uh, repeat its 8 times. Okay. But your commenting shouldn't be too much. I'm just doing this to illustrate. Okay. Then printing flame of candle. Okay. Flame of candle. Okay. So that's that. That's that. Now I was saying the cake our cake demands to spark the flame and the what and the body. So now we have the flame over here. Okay, we have the flame over here. Let me show this guy now. We have the flame over here. Don't you think it is necessary that we add the body, that we add the body of the candle to this straight away? So what are we needing? We just need one print line to get empty line, so that will bring us to the next part of the thing. Then we need this guy to give us some space. Okay, so they're explaining there here. So get an empty line. Okay, empty line. Then say this guy should be it should be insert print the insert of the candles. That's okay. Pick. Okay. So why are we in need of this? We need this for us to be able to you see the top of the cake. The top of the cake is wider than the width or whatever you call it of the candles. Okay, it has to be wider in order for it to be able to contain it, so that it wouldn't fall off. That's the notion behind this. Okay, so that it wouldn't fall off. Now we can call on another repeat function to create the body of our cake for us, right? We need that. Open and close them. Print to us. We will need to print out something, and that's the body of the cake. Remember, yes, that. So it is printing the body of the cake 8 times. Remember, you can see that everything that we have written so far, okay. So we'll come back here and explain it to you later. Now let's move on. Column print line to get an empty line. Okay, an empty line. That's great. So now we have created 2 of the functions that we called earlier on. We have created a print cake function, and we have also created the top part of our cake. We are now left with the button. Okay, the button of our cake. So we just create another function. So in this case, we are creating 3 functions. Please, I hope you are noting it. Now, before we move on, I would like to emphasize this. You know that the layer of our cake should have 2 parameters. It should have the width and it should have the what? The height. Okay. The height will determine how many times the layers is repeated. Okay, vertically. Then the width will determine how many times the art symbols, remember, should be repeated in this case. So we need 2 parameters here, the height and the weight of the cake. Okay, so the weight of the cake would be represented with what? 8, right? With 8, because we want it as long as 8, and maybe even twice. We'll add 2 to that. Okay, we will add 2 to that. I hope you are getting it. I'm saying that. Okay, let me come back down to your level and explain things to you. I'm saying that the print cake button function that we called earlier on will need 2 things. It will need a height and it will need a width. The width will determine how many times the art symbols is repeated vertically. Okay, then the height will determine how many times the art symbols the set of acting symbol that was repeated first is repeated vertically. Okay, I hope I'm able to explain it to your level. If not, when we take it, you understand. So first of all, you call on the name. I will say print cake what bottom, right? Oh, sorry, bottom. Okay, so that's fine. Print cake bottom. Then you will need this guy. Like I said, it needs two parameters. The parameters are the width and the height. So we will say the width should be our h, and after that we need the a variable is in. And you need a comma. Then the height should be layers. Okay. Then we'll specify the type of layer, which is what integer. I hope you are getting it. Now we can move on and create what this function does. What this function does for us. Okay, so we want it to first of all repeat the as symbol time because we don't want our cake to bottom of the cake to be something smaller than the okay, something smaller than the 8. Okay, so we say we should 8 then plus 2 so that it will tally with the top of the cake. Top of the cake. Okay, after that, we want it to repeat this. Okay, we want it to repeat what? The at symbol. 8 plus 2 times. Oh, sorry. 8 plus 2 times that also. So just after that, we will need this guy and they print this guy. That also print this guy for us. Okay. So it is printing it how many times in this case? 8 is 24 plus 2 is what? 26 times. Okay, that's great. After that, then we will need what? Let me come down here so that you'll see everything clearly. After that, we'll need some space to cover the print line. There we go. So we've gotten the space. Okay, gotten the space. First of all, you let us come here. You see that we have print cake bottom and ash color. Go up there. You have you have print cake candles also in ash. Why? Because they haven't been activated. You have print cake tab also in what? Okay, so you can see the notice is there. Function print cake tab is never used. Save, delete. Oh no, we don't want to delete it. So let's go up here. You know the reason it does not show that we have used this here. So just get rid of that. And now we should get something better. I hope you are saying it. Get rid of this one. And now you should also get something better and get rid of this guy too. Okay, and now you should have them highlighted nicely. So you can see print cake tab highlighted, cake handles highlighted, and print cake button also highlighted. I hope you are getting it. Now let's run our code and see it. Then I will explain something to you. It is building. It will take some time for it to finish building. Bam, there we go. There we go. Okay, so let's go up there. Okay, so what are we seeing here? We are seeing the top of the cake first before the flames, which is actually bad, really, really bad, something that we don't want. Then also, then you could see that the bottom of the cake is repeated just once. No, we need it how many times? 5 times. So in that case, we will need to modify our code in order for it to reflect what we want it to do. Okay, what we want it to do. Let us continue here. So let's come back here. Let me close this guy. Let's go up there and do the calling of the functions very well. You see, we called the print cake top first before the print cake what candles, which is not something that we will want to have. Okay, so just take it off and bring it down here. Bring it down here. Fine. Okay, it is fine now. Then we can move on and modify our cake pattern to have something better. Okay, we want the R symbol to be repeated how many times? 5 times the height. Okay, not the height, 5 good times. The height, 5 good times. Okay. We want the height 5 good times. Now, let's see, how will we be able to repeat this arc symbol vertically and horizontally? Let's see. There are many ways to do this. Many ways to do this. First of all, literally, you can say for layer 1, which is the first layer it has been printed, for layer 1, repeat the symbol 12 times. Okay. And for layer 2, repeat the symbol also 12 times. Now we are getting the third layer. For layer 3, repeat the symbol 12 times. But there is a better way to say this, okay? Repeat for 3 layers. Repeat for 3 layers. How many times? 12 times. Okay, so you can say repeat the as symbol 12 times and we are good to go. Okay, so how do we do this in programming? We can do this with the repeat function or the repeat function. Yeah, it is a function. Okay, can do that. We will just have to put a second repeat function inside of the first, then we are good to go. Okay, then we are good to go. Let's see how to do this. So after calling on let's come here. Let me help you modify this guy a bit. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so we'll call it a repeat. Also, repeat what? We'll call it repeat layers. Layers. Okay, so we have it down here. We want to repeat the layers. Okay, we want to repeat the layers. How? How do we repeat these layers? We want to repeat the layers now. How many times? Okay, so let's take it. We want to repeat it. Hey, we want to repeat layer as first one, first instruction. First instruction to the repeat function is just repeat the layers for us. Okay, okay. Now that it has taken that instruction, it will just repeat it if we don't add it, we don't add up anything. So we would want to give it a specific instruction, okay? Then you say repeat it 8 plus 2, that's 26 times. Okay, that's vertically and horizontally. Okay, now we will come down here and give it what? And give it the number what it is supposed to repeat. The symbol. Okay, so what we are just telling this is repeat at symbol this number of times and as some repetition also in layers, which will build the vertical part of this program for us. Okay, the vertical part of this program for us. It is very, very difficult in understanding this, but I think with time, watching this video over and over and over again, the understanding will come. If you don't understand, come back to the discussion room and let us know your problem and know how best to help you. How best to help you. Okay, how best to help you. Okay, how best to help you. Okay, so let's run our code and see the outcome. It is building, please. It is building, please. It will take some time to wait for it. Almost there. Oh, what is a bug? Is that what we are having? No, 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 no. This is not something that we want. You can scroll this guy here, to the right, and you see how long this thing is. That's something that we want. No, that's not something that we want. You know the reason why we are having this? Let me show you. Let me show you. So we're supposed to actually get some prints line to break our code over here. Okay. Break our code over here. So now let's run it and see. Okay. So now we are having the expected output. Okay, we are having the expected output. If you are, I say congratulations. You have just begun the real programming. Okay, the real programming. That's fine. So this is it. We are having it how many times? If you could count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have the top. Then we have our candles. Okay? We have our candles. Okay. So I think that's for now. That's for now. We'll end here and continue later on. Okay. Bye bye.